What's up, guys? Iceman here. Welcome to Meditations. So that's right. That title, huh? Some shit I guess we gotta talk about. So, anyway, it's about... You know that thing, like... It's a pretty big deal to a lot of people, right? Like they talk about... They suck the little baby out of there, then they chop it up, or whatever. Isn't that what it is? And then they're like, oh, we're going to do it later and later and later. Maybe after it comes out, you can still chop it up for like a month. I don't know what they're advocating right now. So, for me, you guys got to understand. I don't have a dog in this fight, all right? Nope. I don't have any children. I'm 37 years old. And you know what, dog? I don't give a fuck what happens here after I'm gone. Nope. Whole place can burn for all I care. But you know what's interesting? So sometimes they say you have to put yourself in the other person's position to understand where they're coming from, right? Get closer. So if I were abroad, is that something I'd want? I mean, on one hand, it's like, maybe that option would be good. Things happen, you know? Now, it affects both parties. I mean, it's bullshit if you say it doesn't. I have a friend who right now is paying $1,400 a month in child support, all right? He has 3 of them. One of them's adopted. Which is just kind of telling, like, okay, she was up for even adopting a kid. Like, that definitely wasn't an accident, right? But then you leave the guy, okay. And then you get to pay child support on it, you know? But yeah, 3 kids adopted. He has about 30% custody. And even with that, he has to pay $1,400 a month. Now, if you were to have half-time custody, you'd still have to pay like $1,000 a month. I'm just saying. I mean, this is why I made sure to never have children, all right? Unless if I really, really, really wanted to. You just can't trust anybody. And you never know, mistakes happen. If I were in that position, say that I was 20 years old, and I got abroad, knocked up at the time, right? I'd say it to you guys, but I mean, hell, I probably would have been up for, ripping it out of there and chopping that shit up. I don't know, maybe I'd regret it later, I don't know. But, say I was 25 with abroad. Shit like that happens, you know? So I have a little confession to make. Never told you guys this on any of my other channels. All right, little confession. Are you ready? Little Ice Boy confession. So here's what I did, because I had those concerns, right? It's like, oh, what if? Because obviously I wanted to live promiscuous. Is that how you say it? Where you can kind of, indulge selfishly and maybe enjoy yourself with a slew of women or whatever, right? So I was making some executive decisions. I was like 27 when this happened. I said, okay, Ice Boy. So you want to go out and have fun, right? You don't really want to commit to one broad. And you don't want to pay child support, because I've seen a lot of people do that. A lot of my old dogs, right? A lot of my old dogs have to do that. Some of them don't. Some of them are with their broad still. They have children. Good for them, you know. But I'm just saying, the probability of things, it happens, you know. So I'm running all these equations. And I'm like, okay, so I want to live promiscuous. I want to enjoy myself. I want to have fun. But I'm the kind of guy who likes to eliminate risk. All right. And as mentioned, one of the risks was, what if you knock that bitch up? So I started looking into it. I was like, is there any birth control for men? Obviously there's not. I don't even know if I looked at it. I pretty much already knew. Some folks say that there should be, or there could be. Some folks say that there could be. But I was like, okay, there's not. But what I did was, I was like, okay, so here, come a little closer. All right, this is personal. I never told you guys this. And I know you want to hear it. But, so what I did was, I was like, what should I do? I was like, oh, I got an idea. I've heard of these guys, like, they get the little snippy or whatever, and then they still, and there's no repercussions. You know. So, I thought that was a good idea at the time. I gotta stop hitting that cord. Stop hitting that damn cord. So I went, I looked into it. I was like, wow, this is only $500. I was like, are you kidding me? You spent $500. I mean, hell, you spend that much on condoms. No, that's not really true. But, well, you could. But you see where I'm going with this? And, you know, so after that, I pretty much figured I had shit figured out. You know, solved, problem solved, right? 27 years old, I think is when it was. I can't even remember. 26 or 27. Maybe it was 26. But, so that's what I did, right? I made an executive decision, thought that shit through, tried to minimize risk. Now let's go back. So I have some understanding as to why people would advocate for that, you know. Now, here's the thing. It's an entirely different issue, though, if you say, well, other people have to pay for your mistakes, you know. If you say, well, through taxation, you could get that taken care of. You know, through taxation, we'll suck that shit out. We'll chop it up. We'll throw it in the garbage, whatever. And then we're all good, you know. That might be a problem. I don't know if it's a good thing to force everyone else to pay for your mistakes. See what I'm saying? And that's why I made an executive decision. I was like, well, I know I might have to pay for my mistakes. So what's the solution? Well, I looked into it, you know, it was $500. But women can do that too. You know, women can get the things tied or whatever. But here's the deeper issue regarding it all, okay? Whether or not you think it's good or bad or methed up, right? To pull that shit out of there and chop it up or whatever the hell they do. What is that doing to the world when it's just that much easier to enable promiscuity? Is that how you say that? Is it promiscuity? I don't really know how you say it. But you see what I'm saying? Like, say that you said, oh yeah, you can go ahead and go out there and, you know, and smashy with whoever you want, as much as you want. And oh yeah, if you make a little thing in there on accident, we're going to make everybody else pay for it and rip that out of there. What does that do? From my speculation, if anything, that's going to mitigate risk, you know? Like the broad's going to be like, well, there's that option. Or even the guy will be like, well, there's that option in case if we mess up. And if that wasn't there, I think it would just be more, it'll funnel it up to where there'd be a bit more risk involved. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be like, well, if we do this, then we're going to have to deal with those repercussions because there's not an accessible way to make everybody else pay for our mistake and get ripped out of there. So I speculate that it would make people lean a bit more toward the idea of abstinence, or whatever you call it. They just, they'd be more selective. You know what I mean? And the reason why that's a good thing is, as far as I see it, the more promiscuous people are, the more destabilized a comfortable, functioning civilization becomes. Because it was kind of made, a long time ago, there was like husband and wife. Do you remember those terms? They'd like get married and they'd try to be faithful, and back then they were more faithful. I don't know, maybe like 80 or 90% of them were more faithful. And then as we progress, they became less and less and less and less faithful, more and more and more partners and divorces and all that, causing the destabilization. It just is just simply more fuel for more demand of big government intervention. You know what I mean? Like, well, they can't do it on their own. They can't stay in the family together. They need more assistance. We need more taxation from everyone else to help resolve their problem. You know what I mean? We need to subsidize their housing, subsidize their groceries, subsidize their living, subsidize everything. We're pulling all that from everyone else. So it's just moving closer to that. The more promiscuous everyone is. You know what I mean? Now, let's go back. Like I said, I'm 37 years old. Don't really give a fuck what happens after I'm gone. But I might have to live in this fucking hell. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that bad. But I might have to live in this less than desirable state for another 50 years. You know what I'm saying? And if I have to do that, I prefer it to be more comfortable than less comfortable. And I suppose if I had to decide, I would say I'd rather people be in a better state in terms of mental health and physical well-being than not. All right? And I don't got to blah blah about it, but there's countless studies, as much as we can trust them today, I don't know. But we can just see this with our own eyes. For those who have eyes and those who have ears, we can see and know that the more partners a woman has, for example, the more depressed she becomes, the more she allows, the more reckless and depressed she becomes. It's just true. It's because it's a very, there's a lot of reasons for that. It's not in her nature to do that. Her nature had her to be reserved because there's consequences. You hold the baby or whatever, and you have to go through pregnancy and all that shit. You're very vulnerable. So by nature they're reserved, which is why they're the limiting factor in human reproduction. Which is why men, they just want to go and give their seed or whatever. They don't give a shit where it goes. But with women, by nature, they're selective. You see what I'm saying? So when you take that out of the equation, or when you start breaking away the risks involved for her, then she's simply going to, and when you have the media and everything else tell her, oh no, you're going to be more happy the more you let happen to you. You know what I mean? Like, no, don't go get married. Don't go have kids. No, go to college first and see how long of a one you can fit down your throat. You know what I mean? Is that just how it is? Like, it seems like most of the bitches that I've seen or witnessed or observed, like, they have like 10 or 15 guys that's fucked them since before they're married. And it's getting even, those numbers are just continually growing. So I don't really know how else to put it. I'm trying to be cordial, but there's really no other way to say it. All right. So when all those things come together as they do, it's making for a less stable civilization. You know what I mean? So is it really a good idea to force everyone else to pay for those mistakes that other people are making? You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to this. Like this is like the core of our existence. You know what I mean? And there's reasons why. There's risks and reservations distilled within us in regards to these things. And when the powers that be start pulling those away, and just enabling us to give in to our innate inclinations without thinking there's any, with knowing there's less risk involved. And when these entities and powers that be, through media and entertainment and everything else, they tell you, oh yeah, it's going to be good, it's going to be fun, you have to be more permissive. You know, when they start pulling apart morality or whatever you call it, then it's really setting up, as far as I see it, according to my assessment, it's setting up a living hell ahead of us. I mean, to put it in simplest terms, the more, you know, if people would just do this, you know, like if they just pair up like that, like what they did back in the day, and stick together, have kids and all that, and be, for the most part, loyal, you know, in general, it would make for a much better, more comfortable civilization. You know what I mean? So what do you guys think about that? I'm curious. You know, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like this video if you will. Subscribe to the page. There's one more thing I was going to say about that. I can't remember what it was. But I mean, shit, maybe I'll make another video on it if I remember. But what are your thoughts on that? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace be with you.